I'd love to get your thoughts on this if you've been following this, but the whole privacy narrative that's been taking off in the last, I guess call it maybe 2 months or so. I mean, not that price action is a great way to judge things, but obviously Zcash is doing extremely well, and it's something that we've been investing into for quite some time, and it's exciting to see it take off right now. And the reason why we've found that like privacy preserving technology is extremely powerful is exactly what we were just talking about, right? And so like if I am receiving a stablecoin, that is safer than cash in the sense that like my physical safety is there, but your digital safety is then exposed. So like anyone who is enterprising or conniving, they could probably spend a bit of time and just figure out, where if they found, let's say, the NGO's wallet, and then they could trace all the transactions, and then they could figure out, who's receiving money when on chain, and then eventually they could figure out like, okay, here's what this guy's balance is. Like if you were the shop owner or something, right? You could figure, okay, here's what this guy's balance is, here's when he gets money. Like there's definitely there's breadcrumbs that are being left everywhere. And so something that we're actually really, yeah, I guess, investing in is how do we bring some like the privacy benefits of cash, but with the digital expediency and benefits of stablecoins or digital currencies. So that's just an area where I think we're super keen to see take off. I think this is quite it's quite new, and so obviously it depends on like what is this going to look like in the future. Like no, I think it's a bit unclear, right? But like since ZK proofs came out and actually worked a year and a half ago or whatever it was, it feels like now we've got this opportunity to do something quite powerful with privacy preserving tech.
Yeah, we could probably do an entire episode on this because I think it's very, very valuable. I will give a quick anecdote that when I first got into crypto back in 2017, I remember I shared crypto with a friend of mine. And he's a not high net worth individual, but he's a very wealthy individual. Like I don't know what our high net worth is, right? But the first thing he said to me was, "What about privacy?" And we started talking about Monero back in 2017. And from that day, he was like, "Oh, Monero or whatever's the most private chain is going to always be sought after by the wealthy." But I think it's interesting now that the conversation is like we're going from the wealthy down to maybe someone who just needs to receive their conditional cash transfer that comes in monthly, and they don't want to like the example in Guatemala, they don't want to stand in line because then they're basically just saying, "Come rob me, I'm about to have like a lot of cash." As opposed to they can be in their home and just receive it to their digital wallet. Privacy is only going to continue to ramp up. Like I see the conversation around privacy start to ramp up as I start to see the conversation around authoritarian governments, right? A lot of times people stateside, I'm going to give you the stateside, my stateside perspective. A lot of times people stateside, they don't think that like, they think V for Vendetta is a fictional thing, right? But now that you're starting to see that in the United States, there's starting to be a lot more control around finances and it could even be politically motivated, then I think the libertarian cohort, which was always like a huge base in the beginning of Bitcoin adoption and blockchain adoption and like, free cash on the internet, rah-rahing on the internet, now that they're starting to see that, okay, it's cool maybe if I'm a Republican and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna like maybe own the Democrats on this. But I think all, people on partisan realize that anything that's on one side could swing to the other side depending upon who's in office. And so this goes back to like the very, very simple, conversation you and I could have ideologically about free speech. If I tell you you can't say something, then one day when you're ruling, you could tell me that I can't say something. And because we're getting into that and it's extrapolating philosophically like onto the internet, onto the blockchain, I think things like Zcash are going to continue to explode. And once again, you've said perfectly, price action has nothing to do with like whether things are going to be big in the future or not. It's not always the best indicator of adoption, but people have been saying Zcash is going to go to $10,000, right? And it's like 600, 700 now or something like that. Like it's still far away from that. So I do think the conversations around privacy are only going to continue. And one of the things I'm actually very bullish on is stablecoins on Bitcoin Lightning Network. I think that's going to increase privacy tenfold. And somebody who recently came on the pod was talking about that because of the way Lightning is set up. It's really end to end. Like you can't necessarily see it on chain, just the way that the transactions are kind of batched. So yeah, I super bullish on that. And I think it's very, very important. And I think in the future, just like cash now, I have no idea, Ken, how much cash is underneath your mattress, right? It could be $2 million. I don't know. In the future, people will have their mattress wallet is what I'm calling it, where Ken will have set amount of money in euros and dollars and yen, and no one knows what it is because it's on a privacy chain. And then he'll have stuff that like, you know, the IRS or like the tax audit system, the TradFi system could see. So anyway, I do think it's a massive conversation that's only going to continue to grow as geopolitically the world continues to start to vote more right